new version 3 clamps installed on the static fire stand at Massey's, hardware for the cryogenic fluid swivel joints installed on the SQD arm at Sanchez, Gigabay column installation continues at the build site, and the destruction of OLM-1 begins at the launch site. Hey everyone, and welcome to RGV Aerial Photography's 105th Starbase Flyover update. Once again, the weather this week was perfect for another fantastic flyover. The flight took place on October the 31st at an altitude of 6,000 feet and captured all the fast-moving action at Starbase, Texas. My name's Jeff A, and I'll be your guide today, so let's kick back and take in all the exciting sights. We'll start over at the Massey's test facility. Here's a labelled map from Proky to help you find your way around the site. Beginning at the static fire stand, the new version 3 clamps have been installed. On the gantry structure, new engine chill piping can be seen going from the right side and then down, indicating that engine chill will still be dumped overboard. However, a new change shows that the engine chill collection will go through the quick disconnect, unlike the previous design. Off to the side, a new lock retaining pond is under construction. Now moving to the left, steel boxes have been constructed around the cryogenic pipework to help shield it from any further anomalies. At the fluids bunker, work has been progressing on rebar installation for the roof of the structure. This roof is significantly reinforced to protect against future accidents that may occur. Concrete has been poured to cover the water lines for the fire X system. To the right, work has begun on installing rebar for the blast wall that will protect the methane side of the tank farm. Moving to the methane tank farm, an additional methane offload point has been added, which now allows for 3 locations where methane offloading can take place. Thanks to a perfectly positioned image, we can see that the oxygen side of the boosted cryostand has been disconnected. Looking at the ship cryostand, actuators have been installed for testing the inner 3 engines' thrust vectoring system. Moving over to the test articles, B18.3 has scaffolding installed, allowing access to the forward tank for inspections. The structural test additions remain the same as the previous flyover. The remaining segments of the new crusher cap have been delivered, as well as additional tensioning rods. Finally, at the super crusher, B18.1 is still seeing some attention. It's unclear if testing is concluded. However, new structural reinforcements have been added to the top and bottom of the test sockets. At the same time, the angled ram to the cap, as well as the 2 for the angled socket, have been disconnected from one of the sides. We'll have another quick look at some of the storage sites nearby. First, at the Brownsville lot, there are only a few crane parts remaining for the last tower crane at the Gigabay site. There have been many new deliveries of steel for the new bay, and we can expect to see many more. At the Highway 4 lot, all the crane parts for the SpaceX LR11000 are now at the launch site, and the whole right-hand side is now cleared, with all the remaining parts moving to the centre. Now let's fly over to the Sanchez site. Let's take a quick look at this week's site map so you can get yourself oriented. Starting at the B15.2 transport stand, all 20 hold-down arms have been removed and placed nearby. We expect that the new hold-down arms for version 3 boosters to be installed soon. Some of them are staged to the side. Looking closer, we can see the stabilisation pin mechanisms laying on the ground after also being removed. These will no longer be needed for the boosters. To the side, a new structure is about to be put together. Possibly a new ship transport stand. We'll keep an eye out on this. Also here, the speculated raceway jig was painted white. Moving to the engine work platforms for the ship's static fire stand, we can see that it has also been painted. Now at the ship QD arm, the swivel joints that connect the main cryo pipes from the arm to the tower are being attached. This is one of the last steps before moving it to the pad for lifting and installation. Now rolling to the scrapyard, the ship transport stand that was used as a static fire adapter has started its scrapping, and we can also see the remains of Test Tank 16. The remnants of the old style platforms for one of the ship work stands in Megabay 2 can be seen in this dumpster. The work platforms for the new work stand at Megabay 2 were moved here, likely to make some space. Finally, the new Tadano A7450 crane that replaces the Grover crane has arrived. The rest of its parts are in the crane yard. These include the main boom, the wings, an extension boom and lifting jib. Before moving to the build site, we'd like to thank all of our YouTube and Patreon members. Remember, all of the patrons get to participate in our Discord show and tell sessions on the same day of each flight. Here you can join in the discussions and ask your own questions. YouTube members also get to watch and listen in with a live chat function. Moving on over to the build site, we'll start at the bustling Peekaboo construction site, where these two tower cranes and the LR1300 have been busy lifting steel columns into place as fast as they're delivered. In this time-lapse of Lab Padre's rover cam compiled by Vix, we can see that multiple steel sections are being tied together and lifted at the same time. This saves incremental amounts of time from decreasing the distance between individual loads. By the time this clip was taken on November 1st, the boom for the third tower crane was also installed. Moving on to Peekaboo 2, SpaceX is making good progress with Ship 39, intended to be the first version 3 ship. On November 1st, the first lock section was moved into the bay and stacked with the rest of the ship. 2 more sections remain before the ship is fully stacked and can be equipped with Raptor 3 engines for the first time. At Peekaboo 1, home to Booster 18, there have been no noticeable updates since our last flyover. Moving on, Starbase Surfer X caught Ship 40 inside the Star Factory with its forward flaps installed. Before heading to the launch site, a quick stop at Boca Chica Village where the multi-storey apartment building is making good progress. We can see that the handrails have been installed on the roof, which made us speculate on Starbase Weekly that this might be an observation deck. Let's review the latest labelled map of the evolving launch site. As always, take a moment to pause if you need some extra time. At Pad 2, work continues at the end of the clamp arms. New hardware replaces the cylinders seen in recent flyovers. This new hardware features the expected hemisphere design on a bracket resting in the end of the arm. Looking to the corner of the flame trench, additional parts are staged. These items also feature an adjustable link that may be used to fine-tune the positioning of the hemisphere bracket. Thanks again to Chrome Kiwi this week for this render that allows us to see the likely position of these components inside the arm. On November 3rd, the first observed test of the launch mount deck occurred. A cloud of dust was seen rising from the mount with additional observations of hardware activation in the Deluge tank farm. Thanks to Lab Padre for this clip. The service structure cladding install continues. Near the top deck, the last edge piece over the water manifold is in place, with 2 panels covering part of the gap between the structure and the flame trench wall. The vent cover is installed over the right pair of vents, with the opposite cover staged nearby for installation on November 1st. Then on November 2nd, the first of 2 large blast doors was installed in the right opening of the structure. Thanks to Starship Gazer for this image showing the door and cladding panel above. The concrete slab along the new retaining wall has now been poured, clearing a path for the SQD arm to be installed. The SpaceX LR11000 remains stretched across the launch site. Resting in the shadow behind its base, the hook block and weights have been delivered from the storage lot. Just above, another segment of the suspected Fondag slab has been poured, with a small section between the tower and trench remaining. Now along the highway, the drainage culvert nears completion with only 2 junctions being installed, requiring a poured-in-place connection. Just above, protective covers continued to be built for the transformers. One is completed, with a top frame for a second being assembled. Moving over to the original comms bunker, the section of wall replaced last week has been painted, with the section to the left also replaced this week, continuing to raise the question, will this building remain or have its contents moved to the mega bunker? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. The methane side of the Pad 2 tank farm was active during this week's flyover. Frosted methane pipes can be seen to the commodities trench, as well as the return line to the tank farm. The heat exchangers were also active, with nitrogen being vented from the stack. A quick look at the ASU site this week shows the drilling equipment staged. Continued groundwork moved to the east end of the site. Along the perimeter on this side of the site, the glass foam aggregate is now being spread. This includes some areas on the outside perimeter. At the storage lot near the port of Brownsville, several deliveries were spotted. Thanks to some being uncovered, we can identify them as components of the ASU. With the new construction covered, we'll shift to Pad 1, where the destruction of hardware continues to ramp up. At the methane side, the pump systems have been removed. The kettle boiler exhaust manifolds have been removed and set aside while most of the pipework has been left in the area. Moving further to the lock side, the progress is more visible. All 8 of the kettle boilers have been disconnected, with the inlet and outlet manifolds remaining in large pieces. One of them is loaded onto a trailer to be trucked away. On Monday the 3rd, the kettle boilers would slowly be loaded on trailers for removal. 2 of them were transported by the SpaceX yard truck and trailer, possibly relocated to Massey's, where the methane tank farm had room for 2 more. The tank farm berm is now just a pile of dirt, with the pile of concrete and rebar cleared. Instead of being hauled away, the berm soil has been relocated to the retention pond as they fill it, likely to create some additional work area for the demolition of pad infrastructure. From above, the launch mount ring was largely untouched, however crews were busy under the mount using cutting torches to remove the exposed pipework, allowing it to fall to the ground below the mount. On the first, cutting along the green lines of the launch ring began. Be sure to check updates in our next episode, as the ring will be uncovered exposing what remains of the launch mount systems for the first time in years. On the back side of the tower, several roof panels of the drawwork structure are being scrapped. The roof over the winch would later be removed as well. Well, that's it for episode 105 of Starbase Flyover Update. Thank you for choosing to fly with RGV aerial photography, and we hope you all enjoyed the flight. If you liked what you saw today, please subscribe for more episodes and content so you don't miss out on the new videos each week. I'm Jeff A, and we hope to see you again from 6,000 feet.